Hi everyone, it's Pedro here from the Liverpool Beer Collective, and this is our first ever podcast. Now, we're here with some of our Liverpool Beer Collective members. I'm quite lucky to have Mike from Handyman Brewing, who's also a committee member, Jack from Love Lane, who's their technical brewer, also on the committee, and we've got Adi as well, who's over from Carnival Brewing. So we're going to be having a little bit of a run through the trials and tribulations we've all had over the last few months, and what things are going to be looking like when we reopen again. There's going to be some gradual reopening of pubs, bars, and tap rooms from April the 12th onwards, if everything stays on course. So, who should we start with? Tell you what, let's start with Jack. So, Jack, can you talk us through some of the changes of things that have been changing recently at the brewery in terms of whether you've been ramping brewing up, what sort of beers you've been brewing and things like that, and when the
so it's been an interesting year, I think, for all of us. I'm sure when Mike and Aid speak, they'll tell you the same as well. But this time last year, we kind of went from hero to zero pretty much, and almost overnight, particularly for a brewery such as ourselves, who do a lot of draft, do a lot of keg. Suddenly all of the bars were shut, and there was no one to particularly sell to. So the past year for us has been turning on a penny and trying to go into small pack and into producing a wider range of beers for home consumption, mini kegs, those sort of things as well. So that's kind of been the focus for the past year, pretty much. With a few exceptions, there's been a couple of times when bars and pubs have been open. And I guess for us, the hardest part out of all of it has been that roller coaster effect. So it's trying to work out what the market wants and when it wants it. So suddenly trying to be able to ramp up and just go, right, let's get some kegs, let's get some beer into tank, and we've got to fill kegs again because bars are demanding it. That's been really difficult. So the current climate, the way things are going, it looks like it's all going to kind of go on the 12th of April, and then I forget the date in May, for pubs to kind of reopen outside and then reopen inside. So we've started to ramp up the production again now, to prepare for that, start to fill the tanks and prepare to get some more beer into kegs. And it's a bit of a catch-22 because we do still want to produce cans. We've got a much bigger market for home consumption for selling cans and mini kegs, and it's how for us we keep that up alongside producing loads of the pale and lager for the permanent lines we've got in and around the city. On top of that, we've obviously got a tap room at the front of the brewery, and that is going to be really difficult to kind of get into motion again. You know, a lot of these people have been off on furlough. They've been waiting for us to kind of get an inkling of what's going to go on. So at the moment, the current plan is we're definitely going to be open for the May date, and it looks like we are hopefully going to be open for a 12th of April as well. We've managed to secure some outdoor space, so we should be able to get some nice decking and more chairs and more seating outside.
That's great.
Obviously for us, it's going to be, we've got 120 capacity in the actual tap room, down to 60 with restrictions. Still significant, but it used to be on a Friday, Saturday night, the tap room would be full. So the outdoor seating is not going to be anywhere near kind of 60 probably, and definitely nowhere near the 120 of normal. But we are kind of remain positive. At least things are moving again. It's a slower kind of return to normality as opposed to, say, August when we had the out to help out, and Monday to Wednesday we were mentally busy, and then it was quiet the rest of the week. And obviously loads of bars and restaurants around the city are opening up too. So yeah, it's gone from hero to zero to hero to zero to hero to zero, and hopefully now we're going to be back to something without kind of roller coastering and bumping back down again.
Yeah, no, this is definitely a roller coaster. As I say, the flip flopping on dates and things like that certainly hasn't helped anyone. So I know each of you has been affected in different ways in terms of what you've had to brew and how you've been able to open and things like that. So in terms of the tap room, Jack, just to go again, you're doing the outside thing. Do people need to book with you? Do they need to do anything like go through the website or give a call or anything, or is it just going to be you're going to do walk-ins and people are able to grab a table outside and have a few drinks brought to them from the inside the tap room?
I guess I would always suggest that if you wanted to come, there's a day you do want to come, it's better to book. The demand for events has been huge. As soon as we heard that the kind of rough guideline of dates opening up, our events manager Becky has been inundated with weddings and kind of business events and on all those sort of things. So I already know that we've already got a lot of inquiries, so we can't really guarantee whether or not there'll be tables, but certainly we will accept walk-ins as far as the government guidance is allowing it. And but I'd always suggest that you want to book ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're gonna have some delicious cask stuff ready, brewed at all at any point, or is it still mostly going to be the keg stuff because that's the easiest stuff to store and it's got a longer shelf life, obviously, when you tap it.
Well, I guess I could touch on the taproom in general. We're going through a big change in the taproom at the moment because we're just hiring a new general manager at the moment. So just going through the hiring process, and that will probably fundamentally change the way the taproom works. It's a very intense job that we're hiring for. It's the general manager who's going to be in charge of not only the taproom day-to-day running, but also in charge of events overall, and also what we call the experiences, the gin school, the brewery tours, and sort of liaison with the rest of the business as well. So they'll be dealing with me in the brewery house, me and Paul in the brewery house, and also with the warehouse. So we'll see how things change and how the new general manager, when they come on board, how they want to adapt things and the way that we serve beer in the tap room. So yeah, there'll still be casks. We've still got 3 cask lines, but we're slammed for capacity to try and get enough beer into kegs to be able to sell to all the taps we've got. So you asked earlier on about what kind of things are we brewing up at the moment. On our main kit in the brewery, we're going to be slamming out pale and lager to make sure we've got capacity. But we're hopefully going to have a few brews. We're going to gypsy brew elsewhere and get a few interesting beers done, ready for packaging as well. So we've got 14 lines, and it'd be a shame not to be able to populate them. Yeah. Because we've been focused a year on canning, as I'm sure Adel and Michael tell you as well, that now you've got to kind of find a way of splitting your volumes down and going, right, how much do you put into each packaging format now? It'd be really complex. So we're going to do smaller runs out of the main brewer house to get some more things for keg and for small pack and some more variety in. Yeah.
Oh no, perfect. This is it. We've had a few inquiries via email just from bars around the city ourselves. This is direct to the collective, just asking if we're aware of breweries doing stuff into cask pins. Just for those who don't know what they are, they're just kind of the smallest denomination of casks really that you can dispense on a hand pull, and I suppose it leaves the pubs a little bit of wiggle room in terms of if the days get knocked back or they have to shut again and think on their feet, then they're not pouring too much beer away. Because the first few times we locked down, there was a hell of a lot of beer. We're talking millions of gallons and millions of pounds worth of beer just basically being poured down the drain because there was no other way to sell it unless you put it into milk bottles and things like that. So is it a similar story for you, Adrian? You having similar, have you had similar problems in terms of brewing and what you're going to do with opening the tap room over at Carnival?
Well, it's been a real roller coaster, as Jack has said. I think that's the best word for it. Roller coaster takes me back to my days whenever I went to see the original roller coaster tour with My Bloody Valentine, Dinosaur Jr. and Blur. And the Jason Mary Chain.
The JMC,
yeah. I didn't actually stay for the Jason Mary Chain gig, which they were really annoying me. I think having seen Blur Dinosaur Jr., My Bloody Valentine, Jesus and Mary Chain couldn't compare, But anyway, so
I'll ignore that blasphemy.
Yeah, I know. But I saw the Jesus and Mary Chain in the last year, and they were fantastic, absolutely amazing. But enough of that. So roller coaster. It's been, we've had. We're a very small team, Dom and I kind of started the brewery in our garage, and we're now employing 4 people. And the big thing about what's happened over the last year is it's the uncertainty has really been very difficult. That kind of alongside people having had COVID as well, and I've been lucky enough the last couple of weeks. I've had long COVID myself, and last 2 weekends I've been able to kind of get myself back into the brewery and start brewing. And Jack and I were able to talk about collectively what people have been through, and it's phenomenal the actual impact of this condition, and not to put aside the brewing side, but people in the hospitality industry have been affected by this as well, and a lot of us don't just work in hospitality. I'm not saying that I actually work. It's kind of been a major hobby for Dom and I over the last 3-4 years. But it's been a major impact, But over that time, it's affected each member of our team very differently, from the uncertainty of how you get tested, to when you get tested, to also risks and how to make the workplace safe, and that's been a tremendously stressful, I think, on each individual, in different ways. You've got everybody, but we're all families, so everybody's had a different experience. But it has, there's so many negatives, but there's some real positives for Carnival. I think, as opposed to like Jack is in an established brewery. We'd opened up 3 months and then it hit. And so very, very quickly we had to think on our feet and adapt and go into small, which, that was in our business case for year 3,
Yeah. No, I was going to say it was going to be something I asked you about down the line, but you only really opened in December 2019, didn't you? And then it's kind of, you got 3 months at it, which, strictly speaking, are the worst 3 trading months of the year.
Yeah, I know. It's been a real learning curve. And the curve's taken the roller coaster kind of Big Dipper route, with plenty of corkscrews along the way. And I think that's what everybody around the world has experienced. It's not straightforward, and you try and we were talking. Jack and I were talking about the impact on hospitality. The Carnival has always had. Our mission was to make great beer was watching great music, and so our taproom was set up to have gigs and to have DJ sets and Carnivalization, which is myself and Sir Robert Parker from Probe Records,
right,
spinning 7-inch records and 12 inches, solely, and you realise, how much friends and people who we've been working with over the course of the year have been affected. Tours cancelled, those kind of after show parties and things that you'd been looking forward to. All of that's just been whipped from under us. But slowly but surely, we evolved into small pack. And my God, watching the team kind of try and get all our kegs into cans with a growler machine. But it's just phenomenal, you know. And I think that's the thing. You've seen it in the NHS. You've seen it in most workplaces. People have had to adapt and, you know, really, really think outside the box of how they're going to control things. You know, just to stay afloat. You know, so fast we got to that, and then very soon after we realised that we had to go into small pack in a bigger way. And so that was the real challenge. But it has focused Carnival on involving different people in design, making exciting beers to release on small pack. Over the last couple of weeks, we've done a couple of small brews as well, which opened up a wee shop. So it's like being 7-year-old again, you know, in front of your house, you know, selling crushed up petals and selling them off as perfume. It's never perfume. It's never perfume, not in anybody's imagination. But it's like kids opening up their kind of lemonade stall again, you know. So it's been good fun. But also the kind of trying to keep the base of Carnival going. It's been a challenge. Along the way, we've kind of evolved quite significantly. The brew team are incredibly strong now. You know, they've had to take an awful lot of ups and downs, but we've refined our processes. We've invested in a canning line, which gives us increased flexibility. We've gone from year 1 to year 3 very quickly. Skip that year 2. So year 1 was like a fast forward year for us.
You've been exposed to an awful lot of different challenges, I suppose, and this is it. Nobody's expecting it, but certainly not within your first year of actually trading, because you've been doing the homebrewing for a little while. I do remember myself when I first met Dom, and you know, he was saying about looking at setting this up, and it was quite a while ago that. But you know, from that to fruition of actually having a very good premises, and you've had a few issues with the premises themselves in terms of the sort of the engineering suitability of supporting the brew kit in that space as well. It's kind of you've had a lot to deal with.
Well, we were wet behind the ears. We went from being in a garage, you know, to owning a brew kit, to installing a brew kit, you know, the brew kit being right to left instead of left to right, you know. So, you know, the one thing that I can say is that the whole beer brewing community in Liverpool have been just incredibly supportive and have helped us along each step of the way. You know, Jack has been just such a wonderful friend to us. You know, just for lightness and you know, improving the shades of the darkness, you know. But across the whole of the brewing community, we've, you know, it's been really vibrant, and you know, you need that vibrancy, and you know, the brewers markets that Black Lodge put on really consolidated a lot of that, and you know, we're eternally grateful, thankful for those sorts of opportunities, because it's hard to do that without a focus, and you know, Rob's been an absolute star, you know.
Yeah. No, there seems to be a good level of support across the board in the city of people. I mean, this is it. There's also the for those who are listening from outside the city, there's a bit of a running joke through many of the breweries that a lot of them have bits of kit that is made by a gentleman called Stan Shaw, who used to be the original brewer at the Baltic Fleet pub, who our very own Lally Morrison, who's head brewer at Polly's now. He trained under Stan, but Stan's former job was as I think it was a welding engineer or something like that. So he used to build a lot of kit, and most of the breweries in Liverpool, somewhere in their setup, they will have a piece of kit that Stan has made down the years. But as I say, I'm not sure that could be said of you guys at Carnival. You've not had any help from Stan or had any bits of kit given to you from around the city?
No, well, we have had kit come through from the rest of the city, yes. And we sometimes uncover some barrels, our old Cairns barrels. There's always little artifacts that come along, which just make you smile and make you realise how wonderfully small, but also how supportive each of the other breweries are to each other. There's always been a great spirit of camaraderie. And it's great to see Taprooms coming kind of closer to Liverpool again. Like they're just down the road in Bootle, and the future. I think the Liverpool beer scene is just going to grow very, very quickly. I think we're going to see a massive surge, which is majorly welcomed. But I think that's one of the things that we've really benefited from, is that people have had to reach out to local breweries, during lockdown, and the support that we've had from the community has been incredible. It's taken our breath away. How many inquiries we get, and how supportive people are. Whenever you go out to deliver an e-beer, people have always been, just really friendly and encouraging. So Neil and the rest of the guys have, they've enjoyed part of this as well. Because it has brought the team together, which is fantastic to see. And I think that's what happens in adverse conditions,
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
So in terms of your tap room, when's that open? Is that going to be in a May, or are you going to look to use the outdoor space that you've got at the front of the brewery at all?
I think it kind of goes back to the question you asked Jack at the start. What are we going to do for the next month and a half? And the focus. We're not relying on April showers to bring in to make our outdoors better. It's a notoriously bad time to be outdoors, but there's a couple of people who we've been talking to who might help us create an outdoor space, but really we're just aiming for May, and in the meantime to be solidifying the kind of the conundrum that Jack laid out, which is, what is the equation to come out of lockdown? How do you unlock? What's the proportion to put into small pack versus cask versus keg? Like, we invested in a lot of pins before. It was probably around November time, and we filled them, and they've been sat there. So it's going to be that's been the strangest thing. How do you second guess this? And you can't.
No.
You just got to.
The pubs don't know what they're going to do they? So that's got the knock-on effect to the brewers.
Yeah, you just got to take the experience, and maybe it'll make businesses more resilient. And I think the thing that we've kind of always said to ourselves, well, if we can survive 3 lockdowns in the first year of business, that's not bad first year.
No, this is it. Will the bank manager be nice and friendly in terms of, we know you've struggled, but we see a nice calm sea on the horizon for you to sail on?
Yeah, like we're looking at a couple of opportunities have opened up with some shops, and we're looking at some supermarket distribution, and some distributors as well. It's kind of it's not where you want to be kind of going necessarily as quickly, but it's kind of forced the hand that you have to diversify, and so we've had to look at different opportunities, and that's really the pressure that's been put on you. You want to survive, because the whole reason for opening the brewery is to make great beer, but also to make sustainable jobs.
Yeah.
And to increase jobs in Liverpool,
Absolutely.
And that's our has been the nugget of why we opened up. It's to create good jobs and be a good employer as well.
Yeah. I think everyone sets out when they're doing this the brewery thing. They want the focus is they do want to make a really good beer, but also they want to be good to the people that work for them or work with them as well. I think everybody goes into it with that kind of expectation, but things do dictate otherwise sometimes, especially in times like this. It's really weird, as I say, the way employment conditions have shifted around, certainly at the start of the very first lockdown, the way some companies let a lot of people go and then were able to quickly rehire them. But as I say, I know most of the breweries and most of our members didn't engage in any of that kind of thing. They were quite sort of cautious and took their time. They were quite considered. So
well, the good thing is that the brew team all now have yellow wellies. So, like that for me at the end of the first year is really important. A little sign of sunshine.
As well, they are Dunlop Purifort yellow wellies, so they are the top of the line. They're like the Ferrari of the brewers world. So if you're talking about employment opportunities and looking after employees, Dunlop Puriforts in yellow.
Yeah.
All the brewers out there are going, yes, yes, yes.
What colour are your wellies, Mike?
Yeah, I wish mine were yellow, actually. The more sort of style. So, just to blend in.
Yeah.
And it's green, so I'm not as cool as yellow, but I've got green Dunlops, so camouflage.
Yeah, nothing so extravagant for me. I've just got a black pair. I must say, for those that don't know my day job, I'm actually a consultant engineer, so occasionally visiting a site, but I've just got plain steel toe-capped black ones. Not as exciting as yellow.
Can I recommend the yellow Dunlop Purifort? Sorry, I'm not sponsored.
I can see a few eyebrows raising if I turned up to a site wearing yellow wellies, though.
I think you should go for it.
Mate,
they are very good.
No, have you had similar experiences, Mike? Have you had? Well, you certainly would have had that uncertainty and trying to figure your way into things, putting everything into small packages and mini casks over the last 12 months.
Yeah, I mean, things have changed a lot in the last year or so. Speaking of wellies, I actually bought my first brewing wellies at the start of the first lockdown because I was mainly on the bar before then, and then I got to try my hand a bit more in the brewery, a bit more. Been doing that consistently throughout the year, basically. Things changed quite a lot. Like the other two were saying, going more into small pack. We don't do canning, unfortunately. Everything's just in bottles, but we're doing about 20% bottles before and 80% cask, and now it pretty much went to only 10% cask, the rest of it in bottles. We never even attempted mini kegs before, and mini kegs have been huge in the last year.
I think a lot of suppliers actually ran out of mini kegs as well because every brewery was trying to get hold of these mini casks.
Yeah, it was gold really. Same with cans actually. I heard as well over the last summer. Big shortage for the crowlers and everything. Everybody buying them.
Yeah.
We've mainly kept our core range, to be honest, over the last year. Brought out a few different beers, but we've just seen great support by the local community. We're only a small brew pub, so it's all about people around South Liverpool know us, but we're not really known outside of Liverpool in general. But people around here have been ordering every week, and it's been great, really. Cases, kegs, like I say. Sometimes a pin for themselves. But
no, this is it. I think a few people have done the odd home setup and managed to procure a hand pull from somewhere, and bodged up a fridge just as a bespoke chiller unit to hold the beer in and drill a couple of holes in to let the pipes through. Yeah,
I feel like I can actually add bar consultant to my CV now. The amount of people call me up about how to set up a bar at home. So.
That'd be pretty handy. Yeah. So you said it's mostly sort of core range stuff that's gone into the bottles. So stuff like the IPA and the pale. Has it just been kind of mostly processed brewing of those beers that you've done over the last few months, or
Yeah, actually thinking about it, it's been a long year. Actually thinking about it, we have actually brought out about 3 or 4 beers in the last year, but that's not that much for a craft brewery, I suppose. 3 or 4 beers. We did have one beer that was ready to come out and came out right at the start of the tank as well, which kind of like overlapped into the COVID time, I suppose. But yeah, because people miss our pub, basically. Like I say, it's a local place that people go to. People don't necessarily come to Liverpool and know to go to Handyman, but around here we've got a good community of people. Like we do a lot of the community project and stuff at the bar, and so people like to be reminded of all that. So they just, I suppose, just buy the same IPA and the pale and stuff that they normally get, with 1 or 2 of the new ones that we're making at the time. So a few of the summery ones that we brewed and the winter ones and stuff, when they come out.
No, this is it. It is an interesting point. It's kind of, I don't know. I find myself when I go to other cities, for example, before, I think the last place I went before any kind of lockdown, I was down in Bristol, and it's Liverpool has a similar thing to cities like Bristol and probably like Manchester as well, Newcastle, that some of the breweries, they can't all be based in the city centre, so you can't have a super concentration in one area of, every single brewery that represents the city. I mean, here we've got some fantastic breweries, but some of them are kind of scattered around. So you've got Neptune up in McGull, and that's a bit of a train ride out of the city centre, but they're worth visiting because it is a great tap room and their beers are excellent. And then you've got over the water, you've got the likes of Glen Affric, you've got Brimstage. I don't think they tend to do much of a tap room. And then, as you say, Top Rope, they were based over in Sandycroft, I think the area is called, and it's kind of on the border of sort of Chester and North Wales, so it was quite a way out. But they originally were brewing in Childwall in South Liverpool, but I think they're going to be opening up their own tap room in Bootle, which is not too far. Again, it's a bit of a train ride from the city centre, but not very far at all. And with them, there's going to be Liverpool Brewing Company. I think they've put something on their social media recently that they're going to be selling some beers direct out of their brewery out the back, say in their former incarnation of Liverpool Organic. It's the same head brewer, different team that own everything. They used to do a brewery tour day, which was £20 a head, and you'd be able to drink everything you like. But I don't think they'll be doing that again in this kind of climate. I think people can get through quite a lot of beer these days. So I don't know about if any of you guys have, the people in charge at your place have got any kind of brewery tour stuff lined up, or any open ticket kind of festival-y style events coming up when you plan to reopen.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't mind me starting, we've actually got quite a few things coming up. So we were trialing doing what we call a gin experience, where you can come in and distill a gin with our distiller John, and we've got loads of little pilot gin systems that make just about a bottle of gin. So you can come in, learn about the history of gin, the gin making process, and then get to distill your own gin with John there for a bit of guidance. But you pick and choose your own botanicals and bits and bobs. So we're just trialing that. Oh, after lockdown version 1, maybe after lockdown number 2. So that's just one example of a few things. We're also going to expand it out and do more brewery tours, things that we were going to call it something similar to like a brewmaster's dinner or something like that, where you actually the experience be able to eat kind of tailored meals in the brew house in a safe manner. Alongside some more events going on we've got kind of a couple of upstairs spaces even that we want to do some events in the summertime into. So yeah, a lot of pans in fires. It's just seeing which ones can come through and when we can. We're quite a busy wedding venue, so we're a really big backlog of weddings to try and fulfill, including my own next year, which I'm hoping can go ahead, if all the rest of it goes well. Like, we're talking March next year, so fingers crossed everything will be fine. On a slight side note, we were talking. Abe mentioned the Brewers Market earlier. I believe they're happening again in May. Yet to be confirmed, Saturday in May. So that'll be great. They were such a fantastic event for loads of people to see all the brewers. It was great to see everyone, and they were fantastic events. So that'll be happening soon too.
Absolutely. No, this is it. There's been a lot of focus on online events. I mean, I know we ran our own doing sort of Saturday night Twitter ones, and we managed to do about 14 episodes of it and collaborated with, most of the breweries in the area. But we also had the pleasure of working with the likes of Thornbridge and Marble, and we had some really good Saturday evenings where basically I got to sit round, eat cheese, drink great beer, and chat to people online. We had a good participation and stuff. So I think there's been a lot of focus on those kind of online events as well, and I think we've got one coming up from the guys who do Lecker. They're doing like an Easter egg hunt. I think the boxes are available on sale at the moment. So obviously, by the time April the 12th comes around, people will be chomping at the bit to go out to the pub, and I think there's going to be a little bit less focus on online events. But do we all think there's a bit of mileage really in returning to this kind of thing? I mean, this is a little bit of sort of life imitating art, I suppose, in the fact that we're doing a podcast and people have done video chats and things like that and uploaded them, and they seem to do well in and out of lockdown. But do we think there's going to be a lot more online kind of focus and stuff now that people have seen the reach it has?
I think there has to be. My brother, he was attending a 50th birthday party, which was hosted by a brewery, and sent out a 12-pack of beers and a glass, and like a nice wee tasting event. And I think what has happened is, in a lot of respects, the world has become technology's improved significantly, to enable things like this to happen. And it's just getting that balance, isn't it? I think it has to be a hybrid really moving forward, because it's great to see people online, but geez, the cracky and tough as good as being around a table.
That is true.
So as much as it's nice to see people like this, don't beat the real thing, man.
No, I mean, this is it. I'm a hugger, so I miss that contact with quite a lot of people who I also know are, they're not averse to hug, but there's a few people who don't. For example, I think the one I'm looking forward to when I see him is Rob Hamilton, considering how big he is. I mean, I'm not a small guy, but he engulfs me. He gives some great hugs. So that's Rob Hamilton, who used to be at Blackjack Brewery.
It will be interesting, I think, to see. Obviously, this has such wide-reaching effects, and one of those. Someone said to me the other day, and it didn't really strike home, but things starting to reopen from the 12th of April onwards. It's just the start of a journey again. It's not actually. This isn't over yet. Not to be a negative Ned or anything, but we still got a long time before things will be back to whatever we classed as normal before. So yeah, I think there will still be room for things like online events. It's not always going to be comfortable to go out regularly to a room full of potentially, the maximum allowed amount of people. So I think these have been great to keep people involved, and we've been talking a little bit about community in the brewing world, and it really is everything. Beer people are good people, and it's such a shame to not see fans, customers, friends in other breweries, not to be able to go and collaborate has been really difficult. My personal life, we only moved to Liverpool about just shy of 6 months before all this happened. So myself and my partner Anna, haven't really had a time to bed into a city that we're really excited to take part in. And the only way we felt kind of being able to bed in is via online events, being able to do the live beer pubs and being able to at least talk to Lally and Fee and Mike and other people and Dom and so on and so forth. So yeah, I think these things have been great, and long may they last for people that want them. and I think they will probably stay because people have got used to them and enjoy them. Sitting in your comfort of your home, doing a cider tasting or something like that there is something pleasant. But like you say, I would like to be out there in a pub talking to people. I like to go out and eat. I'm a big guy. I like to go and eat food, and it's not the same when you're cooking it at home from a pub, from a home cooked pack you've got from Bunderbust or something. As good as they were, mind you.
Yeah. No, it's a good point. This is it. I mean, I suppose answered my own question to a degree that they will be around. And my thought on it is, do you know what? There are a lot of people out there who don't live in a major city like Liverpool, Manchester, Leeds, London, Newcastle, and they don't generally have the same sort of spread of pubs and tap rooms and things like that. And the increased reach that we now have in terms of, Instagram chats and YouTube events, Zoom events and things like that. There's lots of different avenues for people to engage about the beer and things like that, because you could live in the middle of nowhere. There's people in sat in the middle of Exmoor or something like that, or up in the Lake District and stuff, and they look forward to this. Everything they get is kind of through mail order. They have to order from breweries and things like that to get delivered by mail or by courier, and it's a chance for them to actually see the people behind the beer and stuff. Because how many tap takeovers take place in the middle of a country pub? It's not often an easy place to get to.
Well, I think a lot of things will actually, everything that's like an engagement in general, like Zoom conversations at home, or maybe a meet the brewer in a pub, will increase in popularity afterwards. I think certain things, like say before COVID was a thing, you might be like, I just kind of want to sit at home and watch TV and stuff, and those sort of things which you've had before, which may have become more popular with yourself over lockdowns. You may not want to do them as much and want to engage more in general. Because I've just we held quite a few tasting events at Handyman before COVID was a thing, and they did sell well, but you just get customers now asking more and more when these things are going to start up again, because they want to actually put their names forward, attend, definitely go to these things now, because they thought before they always could. Now it's like the sort of feeling that you got to make the most of it when you can. Sort of thing, if something like this ever happens again.
Absolutely. Well, saying about that, you do actually have an event lined up, don't you? The guys at Handyman. I think you've got a bit of a collaborative interest with the way you're doing Smithdown Road Festival. Yeah,
so the Smithdown Road Festival is that's a localised festival up and down Smithdown Road in South Liverpool, between about 20 bars and cafes, where free music is played in each of the places, basically, and it helps fund the venues, and it's like a big thing that brings lots of
all live music as well, and the odd DJ and stuff like that.
All live music and the odd DJ, yeah. So it's the guys behind there, and essentially, it's a collaboration between us at Handyman and Craft Taproom across the road. And because we haven't got beer gardens of our own, we've joined up with the Sefton Park Cricket Club, and are going to be holding an event the first weekend, which was about the 18th, is it? The first actual weekend after the 12th, about 15th or something, to 18th or something. So already about 90% of the tickets have sold across the weekend. So it's a Friday, Saturday and Sunday. Saturday's completely sold out. Live music playing on the Friday, Saturday and Sunday as well. Ali Horn's playing on Saturday and Sunday. Friday's yet to be confirmed. We've got somebody excited lined up. With our Handyman beer as well on tap. We've got the IPA, possibly something new as well. Going to be launching around then. Really looking forward to it. Be very spaced out as well in the Sefton Park field and stuff. So
yeah, I was going to say the cricket clubs, for those who haven't visited, it's quite a sort of picturesque little venue, and they do actually have a few cask lines in the clubhouse, don't they? So you can sit and watch cricket with a beer and stuff. And I've having lived in the area, I've been tempted on so many occasions and said I will do that. And yeah, I've only ever been to the place twice to watch cricket, and once for a function. So it's a little bit underused. It's one of those things you forget about, but it's a great space, and certainly for at the moment we need outdoor spaces to go for a drink in. So yeah, Smithdown Road Festival, I think if memory serves, you've had some fairly big artists on that. I think the guys from Space were on one year. I think Space, was it actually Space rather than just one of the...
No, it was actually Space, the Carnival, Craig Charles funk band. We've got the actual festival lined up for the last weekend, I think in September.
Okay.
Some good acts announced there. Main stage will be back at the Cricket Club again and stuff in the Mystery Park as well on Smithdown Road.
Yeah. And so we don't really. It does actually have another name, but everyone knows it as the Mystery, don't they? I can never remember. Is it Smithdown Road Playing Fields or something like that? There's some.
It's meant to be for these sort of events, isn't it? Like trade shows and stuff like that. Yeah. Right.
Excellent. No, that's great. I think we'll wrap it up there, guys. I think that's been a really good evening's work, and thank you very much for each of you contributing and providing a bit of insight. I don't suppose has anybody got any parting words they want before we wrap things up completely? Anything they want to tell people, or do they think we've covered everything in terms of what beer is going to be available and when everyone's going to be open?
There might be another new collaboration. Jack, I found out at the weekend is a drummer. And a band I'm in is looking for a drummer. So
we're having a cross brewery collaboration.
Yeah. And
it's going to be like a brewing music supergroup thing. Is that what?
Well, yeah. There's it's just a shout out for Probe Records. You know, who I've been in bands with Bobby and Rob from Probe Records for 20 odd years, you know, and there's a wonderful podcast that they do, this fictional rock and roll band from the future and the past, you know, typical Probe stuff, you know, putting this spin on reality, which is great, called Michael and the Angelos. But there's a band called the Cool-Eaters. They're going to be doing songs from Michael and the Angelos, and there's going to be a beer, which may well be. It could well be a collaboration between Love Lane and Carnival. Who knows? Who knows who'll be in the band, the Cool-Eaters, by then? But so.
I'm getting kind of Josie and the Pussycat vibes from this now.
I'm just blowing everybody's minds here with my speculation online.
You talked to a guy as well, that's got a piano, guitar, and a harmonica all next to him.
So Liverpool, bring it on.
Excellent.
Open us up and let's see what things are like when we're on lockdown.
I think one of the best Meet the Brewers I ever went to was that Wild Weathers one, where all the brewers got up and played at Craft Taproom one at a time. And I think there's definitely a call for a local brewery band.
Open mic nights at some bars.
There's just one thing I'd like to mention, which is I think we ought to give a really big congratulations to Dead Crafty.
Absolutely.
Just winning the best bar in the UK from the SIVA Awards, which is an absolute tour de force for the city. They 5 years old. I think it's the fifth birthday.
Yeah, they got their 5th birthday, and then they won this award straight afterwards. Yeah,
and it's great for the city. They've obviously spent a lot of time developing the craft scene. They are one of the best bars in the country. They've been awarded and hats off to them. So well done, guys.
Yep, absolutely, superb stuff. So I dropped the message myself the other night, and I don't know whether it quite sunk in for them, but. That really is something. Considering the opposition around the country, there's some great places to go for a drink. So
and Neptune as well won a couple of awards this year as well, which is great. You know, it's just great to see so many things happening related to people that we know, and it's just good for everyone, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, this is it. It feels like we're starting to be part of the conversation now. I think. Yeah. This is it. Having spoken to a few people online recently, there's a little bit more of a. So what's going on in Liverpool? whereas before it was kind of everyone just wanted to go to Leeds, Manchester or London. It feels like we do have quite a lot of different things to offer people now, and it's not just the sort of historic city centre pubs, and it's not just that Liverpool is a party city and stuff. There's actual kind of a lot of serious brewing and a lot of great collaboration and award-winning bars, award-winning breweries kind of filtering through to things now.
Oh, definitely very serious.
Yeah.
Incredibly serious stuff going on here.
That's excellent, guys. Thank you very much, each of you, for your time. That's brilliant. We'll wrap it up there. So,
Sláinte.
Lovely. Thank you very much, you guys, for listening. Hopefully, we'll be putting another one of these podcasts, putting another one of these podcasts together again. We'll chat to some more Liverpool Beer Collective members, and we'll probably start getting some other interesting people to talk to along the way as well. So, thank you again.
Thank you, Pedro. As always.
Cheers, everyone.
Thank you. Cheers.